The airport was chaotic, buzzing with announcements, rolling suitcases, and hurried footsteps, but Ethan Hale felt strangely detached from it all. Normally, he thrived in the whirlwind of schedules, deadlines, and the constant demands of running a company, yet today, surrounded by people hurrying past him, he felt invisible, even to himself. His briefcase sat on the floor beside him, unopened, as if even the weight of work could not anchor him. He had been delayed 3 times, his flight postponed, but it didn't matter. He wasn't rushing anywhere, and nowhere felt like home. Not anymore. His apartment was quiet in a way that pressed down on him, reminding him of all the people he had lost, the connections that had slipped away, and the walls he had built around himself in the process. As he leaned back in the hard airport chair, running a hand over his face, he became aware of a soft, almost tentative tug at his sleeve. At first, he thought he was imagining it, a phantom of loneliness trying to manifest itself. But then the tug came again, accompanied by a small, shaky voice. "Mister, are you lost too?" Ethan looked down and saw a little girl, probably no older than 6, clutching a stuffed rabbit that looked like it had seen better days. Its ear flopped, and its button eyes stared up at him with the innocent curiosity only a child could have. Her cheeks were flushed from crying, though she tried to hide it, pressing the toy closer to her chest as if it were both shield and comfort. There was something striking about the honesty in her gaze, something that cut straight through the protective armor he had built over the years. "Me? Lost?" he asked quietly, unsure why he felt his chest tighten at the question. She nodded, biting her lip as she tried to appear brave. "You look like how I feel." Her words lodged themselves somewhere deep in him. Lost. That's exactly how he felt. Not just physically or in the terminal maze of gates, but in life, adrift, unmoored, unseen, despite the successes and accolades. And here was this little stranger, recognizing it instantly, unafraid of what he represented, unafraid of the empty spaces in him. Kneeling down so they were at eye level, he asked softly, "Where's your mom or dad, sweetheart?" "My mom went to talk to the desk lady," she whispered, clutching Snowball tighter. "She said to stay here, but people kept bumping me, and then I saw you sitting here alone. I thought maybe you're lost too." Her voice was small, tentative, yet filled with an unshakable sincerity. Ethan felt an ache in his chest he hadn't felt in years. For the first time in a long time, someone saw him, not the CEO, not the man with a reputation, but the lonely, tired human underneath. "What's your name?" he asked. "Lily," she said softly. "Lily," he repeated, tasting the name. "That's a beautiful name." She hugged her rabbit closer. "His name is Snowball. He helps me when I feel scared." Ethan smiled, actually smiled, a genuine curve of lips he hadn't felt in days. "I think Snowball's doing a great job." Then she reached out a tiny hand and rested it lightly on his. "It's okay. I can help warm your heart until my mom comes back." And in that instant, the loneliness that had wrapped around him for months began to melt. For the first time in so long, Ethan felt something stir in his chest, something fragile, soft, and warm. Maybe he wasn't lost after all. Lily's mother came rushing back through the crowd, her heels clicking against the polished airport floor, her face etched with worry. She had been frantic, scanning every gate and corner of the terminal, fearing the worst after leaving her daughter alone even for a few moments. But when she spotted Lily sitting beside Ethan, smiling and talking softly as he examined Snowball's floppy ear, her tension melted into relief. "Oh, Lily," she exclaimed, hurrying over. "I was so worried." Lily turned to her mother, her small face bright with innocence and a touch of mischief. "Mom, he's not scary. He's nice. He even helps Snowball feel better." Ethan rose slowly, brushing his suit jacket, trying to hide the unexpected warmth spreading through him. He had prepared himself for a different reaction, a glare, a cold "thank you" and a rush to leave. But instead, Lily's mother looked at him with gratitude, and not the kind reserved for the polite or the rich, but the kind that recognized a simple, human kindness. I just helped her for a moment," Ethan said softly, feeling awkward under her gaze. "She helped me more than I could ever explain." Lily's mother paused, her eyes softening. She crouched down to Lily's level, letting her little daughter hug her once more. "Thank you for looking after her," she said to Ethan, her voice sincere. "It means a lot. Airports can be scary for kids." Ethan nodded, realizing that he hadn't expected to feel this connection, this moment of genuine care. For the past year, life had been a series of meetings, numbers, and obligations, and he had believed that happiness was something to be chased in profit margins or acquisitions. Yet here, with a small hand in his and a little girl laughing at his clumsy attempt to fix Snowball, he understood something that money could never buy. Time slowed as the three of them shared the space between the chairs. Lily chattered happily, recounting small victories and tiny stories about her stuffed rabbit, while her mother listened, occasionally glancing at Ethan with a quiet smile. He found himself telling small, honest stories too, stories he had never shared with anyone, tales of loneliness, of missing family, of quiet moments that had been swallowed by responsibility. Lily's laughter punctuated his words, like tiny bursts of light, and for the first time in a long while, he felt seen, understood, and even lighter. The crowded airport seemed to fade around them. The announcements became background noise, the rolling suitcases a gentle hum. In that brief cocoon of warmth and unexpected companionship, Ethan realized he hadn't just been sitting alone at the gate. He had been waiting for something he hadn't known he needed, a reminder that connection, even fleeting, could still reach him. And Lily, with her innocent bravery and Snowball in tow, had given it to him. The walls around his heart, long built from years of control and self-reliance, were softening, brick by careful brick, with a small hand and a big heart leading the way. Boarding finally began, the murmur of passengers rising as Ethan, Lily, and her mother made their way toward the jet bridge. Lily skipped slightly, holding Snowball tightly, her small hand slipping into Ethan's for balance. He felt an unexpected warmth in the gesture, a quiet reassurance that he wasn't invisible in the world anymore. The little girl's laughter and chatter filled the space between them, and with each step, he realized just how heavy his loneliness had been, and how strangely light it felt now, walking beside them. As they reached the entrance to the plane, Lily paused and turned to him. Her eyes, wide and earnest, searched his face. "Mister, will you be okay when we leave?" she asked softly, a note of worry creeping into her tone. Ethan knelt again, so he was level with her. "I think I will," he said, smiling. "Because I've met someone who reminded me how to care again." Her lips curved into a small, satisfied smile. She leaned forward and pressed Snowball's floppy ear into his hand. "So you don't forget," she whispered. "I won't," he said, his voice thick with emotion he wasn't used to showing. He tucked the little ear into his pocket as a talisman, a reminder of this unexpected, fragile bond that had sprung up in the middle of a crowded airport. Her mother thanked him again, her eyes glimmering with gratitude. "You've done something we'll never forget," she said. Ethan nodded, unsure how to reply. Words felt inadequate, but the gentle squeeze of Lily's hand said more than anything he could put into a sentence. They boarded the plane, and he watched them find their seats. Lily waved once, then smiled, her mother leaning close to whisper something that made her giggle. Ethan stayed on the jet bridge a moment longer, looking at the empty space beside him where she had been. The world felt a little softer, less harsh. The walls he had built around his heart had not vanished completely, but cracks had appeared, letting in small beams of light. As the plane doors closed behind them, Ethan felt something shift inside him. The ache of solitude that had accompanied him for months felt less suffocating, replaced with a quiet hope he hadn't dared to imagine. He realized that life, even in its busiest, most overwhelming moments, could still offer unlooked-for connections, tiny reminders that kindness, laughter, and the simplest gestures could heal wounds long thought permanent. Later, when Ethan finally settled into his own flight, he reached into his pocket and held the little rabbit's ear in his hand, tracing its frayed edges. A smile tugged at the corners of his mouth as he stared out the window at the city lights below. He had been lost, yes, but in the softest, most unexpected way, he had been found again. And somehow, that was enough to make him believe that even amidst life's chaos, hope and warmth could be found, sometimes in the smallest, most courageous hearts. For the first time in a long while, Ethan didn't feel alone.